Hi, everyone. This is Moses Ross. It is November 12th, 2024, and this is the November 2024 meeting of the Multnomah Neighborhood Association. Welcome. Technically, this is our annual meeting because we are having sorry about that. This is technically our annual meeting because we are having our elections for officers and board members at this particular meeting. We have a great group of folks that have stepped up to participate here. Some of them are here in person, some of them are here online. First things first, though, the agenda and the previous minutes from the October meeting were placed in the public folder and are available for review. This agenda today just is also in that same location, just to kind of go over it real quick to make sure that people know what's coming up. We don't have to have a vote to approve either the minutes or the agenda, but I do want to go over what we are going to be talking about today. First off, we're going to do some quick credentialing to make sure that everyone that can vote is appropriate to vote. Then we're going to actually have our election of our new officers and our board members for 2024-25. Then from there, we're going to move right into three new votes. A motion to approve the 2025 street art grant. There'll be a little bit of discussion and a vote. Next would be a motion to approve the financial support of the Little Free Library rebuild. We'll be going in, I'll share some detail about that. That's a Julie project. And then the next one will be a motion to approve a proposed bylaws amendment that needs to be clarified within our bylaws. That should take about 30 minutes or less. And then from there, we'll be going into our committee reports. The SRV, the Multnomah Safe Rest Village Community Advisory Committee has a report. Mary Knox is here who will be giving that, and the other members of the CAC. Also, we have the District 4 Coalition representative, Beth Omansky, will be here giving a quick update there. We have the Community Events Committee, the Livability Subcommittee, the Transportation, Equity, Public Safety, and Communications. That should take about 30 minutes. And then a quick review of the agenda for the December meeting, and then we'll adjourn, and all of this will be done by 8:30. We've got new business at 7:20. Beat you to it. So is there some new business that we? Oh, okay. No, I put the new business up there ahead so we could get the vote out done first and get that out of the way. Yeah. Especially the elections. So, all right. So let's run. Okay. So first off, the agenda, previous minutes, we take that care of. The review of the meeting procedures. The procedures are pretty cut and dry here. We're using a hybrid version of Robert's Rules of Order in the sense that if I have to get technical, I'll be referring to Robert's Rules as far as the conducting of this meeting. Otherwise, we're going to be slightly informal. So in other words, don't make me pull out my gavel. We'll do that. The officers report. Chair, Vice Chair, Treasury, Secretary. I know that we have a treasurer's report. As far as the chair's report, so much to report. If I may just take a chair's privilege and just reflect on Halloween.
President, you're president.
On Halloween, we had a booth right across from Starbucks of a photo booth. We were taking free photographs of the kids and the families that were out there in costume. And I'll have to admit that was amazingly satisfying. Julie and I were out there drenched in the rain, and so were these little kids all dressed up. And it was just such a solid reminder for me of the sense of community that we can have here in Multnomah and the pride that we can take in it. And these kids just looked fantastic, and they were just happy as all get out. The families looked really cute, and we were drenched, but we were smiling. It was a lot of fun. And I might add, we plan to do this again in Christmas when we do, and we did this all in partnership with the Business Association. And both Julie and I are looking avidly for volunteers to help us for the Christmas photo booth, right? But
It's changed. Things change.
things have changed. How'd they change? We'll get on. Okay. It's not on the list. Okay. Anyhow, thank you, Mark. Okay, so that was, thank you for allowing your chair to riff on on Halloween. It was just pretty satisfying and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One
Moses,
final,
president.
pardon me?
You're not chair, you're president,
Yeah. New president should.
right?
You're
Oh,
not
all right.
chair, you're president.
I thought I'd rather be president than a city council member. That's for damn sure.
Oh,
We're sorry about that.
There we go. I feel better already. Anywho, let's move on. Let me just say real quickly, if you ever decide to run for elected office, just take a year out of your life and just block it out and just throw it behind you. Okay. I know Amanda can understand this. Just take that year of your life and just, okay, I'm just going to devote it to this. So, anywho. Okay. Vice President Beth Amansky, do you have a report that you'd like to make?
Yes, I've decided not to run for reelection, and I do want to say that it's been my privilege and honor to support Moses throughout the years, and I look forward to continuing with the MNA in my other positions.
Ah, Beth. Beth, you've been a wonderful partner. And not just these last couple years, but since 2010, when I was
Years and
chair,
years.
when I was chair, not president, when I was chair for 4 years. So Beth, thank you. Thank you very much for your service, and thank you for staying on as the D4 representative and as the public safety, or pardon me, you're staying on as land use chair. Is that correct?
Yes, at the moment, yes.
Okay,
And
very good.
definitely DC. I'm anxious to be more involved in that, especially with regard to the email you forwarded to me today. But we can talk about that later.
Okay, very good.
Question for Beth?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Peter. You have your hand raised?
Yeah, Beth, I wondered if you were, we will miss you in that office, but are you willing to continue serving with governance when it's in session?
Oh, yes.
Great.
Thank you for asking.
Oh, thank you for saying yes.
Well, it wasn't on my mind. It's been a while since we were doing that job. But yes, definitely.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful.
As long
That's
as-
great. That's wonderful news.
Yes.
Fantastic. And just for clarification, D4, what I refer to is the District 4 Coalition representative at the level doing
Oh, I can hear you.
the D4 Coalition right now is in the middle of organizing in alignment with the new format of the city being divided up into 4 districts. So, Beth, thank you for your work on that. Let's see, treasurer. Okay, so that was vice chair, secretary and treasurer. So,
You're freezing badly, Moses.
The signal from the church is frozen at this point, so bear with us. No sound, Moses.
You're on mute, Moses. You're on mute.
Peter, we do not have a secretary's report, so Peter, you're up.
Is that a call for the treasurer's report?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Moses. Thank you, everyone, for showing up tonight. I hope you've had a chance to look over my written report, and I'll field any questions that you may have. But I'm pretty happy with the financial position of the organization right now. We've had some real victories this fall, and some sizable donations and some grants and contracts for livability work around the neighborhood. I did want to make sure everyone who may be interested saw the section of the report on available funds. I summarized there how which programs had some donor restricted or board designated funds available for spending, and a balance of a little over $6,000 for unencumbered money. So that's money we can put toward next year's, well, either this year's projects, if you have some still, or next year's project that will go into the 2025 budget. I wanted to point out that, oh, and speaking of the 2025 budget, let me know what projects you'd like to execute next year and how much they might cost. We can talk about those things together, or grant opportunities, anything finance related. Please feel free to reach out. Let me remind you that we did approve in our budget for the rest of the year last month a $500 target for year-end fundraising. And I'd like to get another brain or two working with me to figure out how best to execute that. And December is the time of year when everybody is asking for money and when everybody gives money. So we should not be shy about the things that we've accomplished, and to let people know how much we need their help in order to keep doing the work that we're doing. So I'd love to hear a reply from one or two more voices to help with the year-end campaign. Any questions? Any questions about the finance report?
There's none on our end. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Peter.
Yes, I've overwhelmed you with my thoroughness.
One idea, Peter, is this is Julie. If we're going to do fundraising for the Little Free Library, if we do it really well, right, we'll have some extra funds that go to the general fund.
Yeah, good. Thank you for that reminder. Yep. That'd be nice. But I still think we need to send out a direct appeal. And I composed one last winter. It didn't get sent out. So I think it just needs a little revision, and then send it out, send an e-blast out. And our email list is over 1,100 people. We should be able to get $500 out of 1,100 people. You guys can do the math on that as well as I can.
Sure. Well, I think we've also had a year of relevance to build our relevance. I think last year it would have been, I don't think we would have raised as much as we would this year. This year, I think we'll do very well if we do a year-end, end of the year appeal for fundraising. And because, my goodness, we've had an amazing year as a neighborhood association. And it's unequivocally, it's been kind of unequivocal our role in the neighborhood nowadays. So I feel good about that. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
and
do.
Moses, I think you could start composing a message from the president as a cover letter to that appeal. So put on your fundraising thinking cap there and write us a few paragraphs.
I'll do that over the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. Okay, that's our officer's report. So now let's get into the credentialing side of things. We're at 7:20 exactly, and so for the next 30 minutes, we'll be doing new business and announcements. The first thing that we need to do is our credentialing report. Yes, we'll do that after we do the elections. Yeah, it won't take us very long. Okay. Sure. Oh yeah, I'll make sure you do. Okay, so okay. What we'll do here, wait a second. What I was going to do is we were going to go into the credentialing report, but Amber is with the, I'm going to move up the agenda a little bit here. One of our guests is from the Maplewood Maplewood PTA, a parent-teacher association, and which is near and dear to my heart because for 2 years when my daughter was in kindergarten and first grade at Maplewood, I was the PTA chair, and this is back in 2010. And so Amber reached out to me about a little situation that they've got going on there. And so I'm going to give her the microphone here, and she's got 5 minutes to share with us their situation.
Hello, everyone. Amber Kinney. I'm the past president of the Maplewood Elementary School PTA. I served for the last 2 years and just turned over the reins to Ibrahim Riyad this year. But one of the unfinished projects at Maplewood that I've taken on as the committee lead is the fundraising project that was done at Maplewood Elementary School in like 2016, I think, 2016, 2017, called Raise the Roof. And we, as a Maplewood community, this was before my time there, but I understand that it was a very broad fundraiser to put a covered structure on the Maplewood playground so that the kids have some roof when it's raining. And we fundraised throughout the Maplewood neighborhood and the Multnomah Village neighborhood. Both of these neighborhoods feed into Maplewood. And including, I think, the business district. I heard that there were even like jars set out at the businesses to raise the roof. So when I first came in as PTA, I learned that we didn't at the time quite raise enough money. And in the intervening years with COVID, the price of putting a covered structure up tripled, quadrupled, and so on. And we raised about just under $50,000, and it's earmarked. Those familiar with 501c3s know that earmarked funds, or also known as restricted funds, cannot be used for any other purpose unless we go back to each and every one of our individual donors and do our best effort or due diligence to let you guys know that due to the price of construction, we're not able to complete this project. You all, if you donated, have an opportunity to be refunded your amount. Or with your permission, we are going to reallocate the funds to general playground improvements. We are working right now with a company who is helping us put in turf on our field, which is so exciting. As I think, I have 3 kids at Maplewood, and I think the kids don't actually mind playing in the rain, but it's the muddy feet of the field that makes it an unusable space. So we started brainstorming other ways to make our playground more accessible year round. And we thought about putting in turf, and we're using our big fundraiser this year, which is our auction, to raise additional funds, but we want to reallocate those earmarked funds or the restricted funds to go to our general playground improvements, to put in some turf, which I think the whole community will enjoy. So this is my part in doing due diligence to reach out to any donors. You have until the end of 2024 to ask for your money back. But if not, we'll just assume that folks are okay with us reallocating the funds. Thank you. I'm also a neighbor. I live like 2 blocks away. You guys are fantastic. I'm going to come to more meetings. Tonight I have book clubs. I'm going to stay as long as I can, and then I'll have to take off early. Thanks for letting me cut in.
Amber, thank you for your work as the PTA president, in the past PTA president. Yeah.
Would you like us to do some sort of, have you done any social media communication? Because we can, cross-pollinate any social media information. Just, yeah.
Well, is that my husband and I chair the bike bus, and we know that we've had so many people from the neighborhood and from the business district cheering us on and supporting us. And so every Friday morning we leave from John's Market and ride with a big group of kids to school. It's been really fun.
It's so stinking cute. And it actually, for that little period of time, makes it not precarious and scary to get from here to Maplewood. So thank you for doing that.
The bike bus. Oh my gosh.
Amanda has her hand up.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Amanda.
So my granddaughters will be at Maplewood soon. I'm concerned about the turf. Why were you putting in plastic?
Well, Commissioner Fritz, I I know that this was a broader idea that came from kind of polling the community. The turf that we're going with is from what I understand, although I'm not an expert, is a more environmentally friendly turf. It doesn't have those little black beads that are in the turf. We're using some company that is supposed to be more mindful of the impact. But I understand it to be durable and resistant of all types of weather, and helpful for the kids to play during school, and then for kids to access on the weekends and outside of school for all kinds of sports as well. I can get you more information though on that if you want.
I would like that. So this is on the sports field, not on the playground?
Yeah. This is going to be on the field where the those t-ball courts are right now, the t-ball fields. It will probably take one of the t-ball fields and we'll put some resources into the one remaining t-ball field to try to make that one better and more usable. We talked to the Southwest Little League as well. They were supportive of this plan and they're excited to help this as well.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's in the grass area.
So what's about the stormwater runoff?
Well, we have to, in order for this project to actually go forward, we have to have it approved by PBS. And we have a project manager through PBS who is going to be talking with us about drainage and all of that. So I don't have the answers for you right now. This is our hope for how to reallocate these funds. But I know that a lot of work will be going into that when we talk to our project manager through PPS.
Yeah, I've just been involved at a project at Jackson Middle School where we're going to get 9 acres of plastic instead of grass. It's, in the headwaters area, it's quite challenging.
Yeah. Yes. Is that happening this year at Jackson?
No, because they don't have funding for it because it costs dollars.
Yeah, it is expensive. In addition to turf, we're also gonna put up a wall where the kids can bounce balls against the walls, and we're improving our blacktop by repainting and putting in some lower basketball hoops. So we have a few other things on the agenda beyond the turf.
So could you separate out the covering the playground with the turf?
What'd you say?
It seemed like part of the project was having covering on the playground and part of it is the turf. Can you separate those two out?
Yeah, the covering is not happening anymore because the price of getting a covered structure is between $300,000 and $400,000. And so it's way out of our budget. We can't afford it anymore. So we're trying to reallocate these funds. So the covered structure is not, we're not going to do it anymore. That's,
Sorry, I didn't
yeah.
know. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, very good. I just do. You've got a touch screen, don't you? Okay. Okay. Well, and you know, it's ironic too, just the issues of Maplewood are the same now as they were in 2010. Exactly are. As far as that playground and the stormwater drainage and all of that, making it a safe place. So I appreciate you coming here and sharing that with us. And I didn't know that you were the bike bus captain, so that's kind of cool. All right, so good stuff. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's get back to the credentialing report here. Right now we have 13 people online and 5 people, not counting Amber, who is 6, but is not here to vote. 5 people online, so that means a total of, are here in person for a total of 18. Will, we've got
Yes,
here,
Moses,
yes, sir.
we are in an unusual situation where just because someone's here doesn't mean they're a member. They have to have consented to become an active member and are registered as such. I have at the moment total of 12 registered or members, including you and Julie. I'm one of the other people, if they could give their names, I can check it against the membership list and see if we have more.
Okay, we're double checking right now to see if Mary's on, Mary Knox is one. Okay, so Mary Knox is one,
Okay,
and then. Sure. Is Kate's name on there too? Okay, Kate is on there. We got a
Kate?
happy face.
what's her name?
Kate Worth,
Kate Worth. Okay,
W-I-R-T-H.
Kate Worth, I got her, okay.
Okay. Is your name on there, sir? No? Okay. Okay, so we've got 2 people here filling out the consent form, Will.
Since they are not members as of October 18th, they're not eligible to vote at this point because there's a cutoff of when you have to become a member. So,
Okay, good.
any-
Perfect. Okay. So excluding the 2 that are not able to vote but are still filling out the consent form, we have myself, we have Julie, we have Mary, and we have Kate Worth.
great. That gives us 14 members. I just got a note from Bob Kaminsky asking if he and his partner can vote, Judy Sierra, but they are not listed as members. So I'm not sure what happened to that. So they're not on the list.
Hey, hello. Yeah, we filled out a form a year ago. I'm sorry you don't have it.
You say you did send out a form,
Sierra, S-I-E.
a consent form?
Yeah, we filled it out during a meeting.
Okay, well, I didn't get it. I tell you what, if it's up for Moses, I would accept that as a consent in due time and add you to the membership list, if that's all right.
I would, yes, I would agree with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
So.
Anyone
okay,
else
so-
there who's a member or anyone online who thinks they're a member, but I have not named them as a member? I see Patrick Burnett is here, but I don't have him on the list, but I'm not sure he is a member. He doesn't want to be a member. And anybody there that says, wait a minute, I thought I was a member.
Yeah, I don't remember if I filled the form out or not.
Okay. Well, I think we'll make sure you can get a form and you'll be up for the next votes. There will be a vote coming up in January for a change in the bylaws, so it's not too late for that.
Yeah. Well, Okay, so what we've done here then is the only person that we have blessed, quote, is the Sierras, Bob and Judy. Do I show Greg Manning on here? Manning. Greg, you're on here too.
Yep,
So I
Greg's
see.
on there. Everybody else online that I've got I've gotten them on as members at this point. And with Bob and Judy, the others, I think we come up with 14 or 15. We're well above a quorum. So I think we can proceed with the vote or with the next step on the process. So I'd say we got, I'll make the exact count now. Go ahead.
Right. Well, for the voting members, correct.
For the
1, 2, yeah, for the 5. Okay, very
I
good.
come up with 17 people.
Okay, which is what I count also.
Okay, great.
Okay. Okay, very good. We're just getting our act together here to make sure that it's smooth. Our secretary is. Okay, so what we have here is we are voting on officers and board members. The officers are myself as chair, Secretary Julie Leet as secretary, and Peter Sampson as treasurer. The vice chair position is open at the moment.
Moses,
So-
they're vice president.
Okay.
President and vice president.
President and vice president, please.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just reading the ballot. The ballot says chair and vice chair. I swear to God, I'm just reading the ballot. It's not that I'm
Okay, I
fixated
will-
on the chair.
Well, I won't keep reminding you then, but you are the president.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, okay, here we go. So what I would like to do first is, before we actually take a vote, we have the opportunity to be able to vote by acclamation. In other words, to vote all of us in agreement that the people that are on the ballot are should be elected, and to do it unanimously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this around. Is there anybody that is voting tonight that would not be voting for the current slate of Moses as chair, as president, Julie Leet as secretary, and Peter Sampson as treasurer? Hearing none, I would like to make a motion that we vote in the officers by acclamation. All in favor of that, please raise your hand or say aye.
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 One- Hearing no nays, because you had your opportunity to give me a nay, and hearing yes, our officer slate has been elected by acclamation. So congratulations to our president, Moses Ross, secretary, Julie Leet, and treasurer, Peter Sampson, for 24-25. Thank you. Next up is our board members. Now, our candidates for board membership are as follows: Carolyn West, who is here. Hello, Carolyn. Corinne Wallace, Diane Parrish, Kate Worth. Kate is here with us. Pam Fox, who's here. Stefan, you snuck in at the last moment. Stefan
Hey,
McLan-
everybody. Hey, everybody. Just got back from our Fixing Our Streets Oversight Committee meeting.
Yay. And last but not least, Will Fuller. So I'm going to once again flip this around and see if we can do this by acclamation. Are there anybody that would like to vote nay to the slate of board members that we have proposed?
Can I have a point of information here, please?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, I'm delighted to see um, two new volunteers stepping up to serve on the board. But I'd love to hear just a couple of sentences about why they would like to serve. And I think the standing rules say that they have to serve on at least one committee. And so how are they interested in helping us out?
I was kind of hoping to do that after the vote, but Julie just made a really good point. How can we marry somebody that we haven't even dated yet?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay,
I don't know.
so because of that, which I kind of have to agree with her on. Let's go ahead and Carolyn, I'm going to have you go first. Please introduce yourself and give us a quick summary of why you would like to be a board member.
I'm Carolyn. I have lived I've lived in Oregon since I was 15 in Portland, and I'm 80 now. I've lived in the village for 16 years, and several things that concern me are related to speed and the fact that cars don't look or see pedestrians anymore. I live on 31st, so that was one of my hopes, is that somehow some additional signage, because the city won't do it. I've tried with them and they said until somebody gets hit in the crosswalk, they can't do anything. Aside from that, I pick up litter when I'm going through the village, so I think organizing more things like that would be good. I have thought about joining in the past, but haven't, and I just decided I need another volunteer thing. I volunteer at the free food market 4 times a week. I used to volunteer at Cerebellum's, but they got so many brain injured adults who wanted to volunteer there that they had to fire me from my volunteer position. And I live across the street from the senior center, so I'm eager to see it get a little more growth since it hasn't been doing nearly as well since COVID.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. You know, and if I may just, Carolyn and I met when she reached out to me to let me know that someone had left a bundle of needles across the street on the there near her, and she was aghast. And what do I do? How do I get rid of these? And the first thing I said to her, "Don't touch them. Do not touch them. I'll be there in 10 minutes." And I came over there in 10 minutes with my little grabbers and my container that Julie Leet had supplied me with. And we picked up those needles, we put them in the safe container, and I took them over there to the fire department, and we got rid of them. And that's how I was blessed to be able to get to know Carolyn, and now I get to serve with her. So thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Worth. I have lived in the village, it'll be 3 years next month. My husband and I have been living out of the country actually for about a decade and a half. And when we decided to come back, we looked at neighborhoods and we actually fell in love with the village. We had never been here before, and we just like, this is exactly what we're looking for. And really, after being out of the country for such a long time, I'm just eager to get involved with where I live. I wasn't really able to do that in another country in the same way, obviously. So I just want to be a part of where I live, make it better, improve. I definitely agree on that speeding thing. I'm with you on that, Carolyn. And I think there's a lot that we can do, and I really like seeing how involved everybody is. So I'm eager to take part in it. Thanks.
That's awesome. So I think we have a wealth of riches here coming on our board. Carolyn and Kate, Corinne and Diane and Pam and Stefan and Will, we are familiar with your goodwill and your actions, so I don't need to hear it again. But so let's go ahead, and is there anybody that is against this fine group of people becoming board members? If there are, please say nay. Otherwise, I'd like to make a motion that we accept them by acclamation onto the board of the neighborhood association. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Fantastic. Kate, welcome. Carolyn, welcome.
Thank you.
Amber, thank you.
Hooray,
best.
hooray.
All right. So now
I
we
also
have
want,
got-
I just want to, I want to thank everyone who's returning too, who has chosen to stand for reelection. That kind of continuity will make a big difference to to our organization thriving.
Oh, very much so. And you know, and one thing that I have always said to everybody here and those longer is we have to look at this as training our replacements, our leadership here, and making sure that we are finding other folks that can come in and then train them to be able to take over what we are doing. And between Carolyn and Kate and Mary and the folks on the CAC that are getting involved and the other folks that are at this meeting, you know, we're well on our way. And I'm really excited about what we can do here over the next year in Multnomah. We've got some good events coming up, and it's all about livability, man. It's all about the livability of our beautiful neighborhood. So let's move on.
Before you go too far, I see that Penny Welch just joined on Zoom, and I don't know if Bill Southworth is there too, but 2 more members joined. We now are up to 20 members plus at the meeting. Penny, just for your reference, we just finished the vote to accept the board and officers by acclamation.
We were here.
We were here.
We
Okay.
voted.
Oh, good. I didn't see you there. Thanks.
We had been on my phone and now we're on my computer.
Oh, there we go. Hi, guys. Okay, I see you.
We were eating dinner.
Very good.
Bye.
Okay, so now we're going to have the very first vote of our brand new board of directors and officers for the new season. And the first vote that we're having is a motion to approve the 2025 street art grant application. Corinne, are you, where are you at, Corinne? Are you can you talk about that application a little bit, the street art grant application, and
Yeah,
before we have that vote?
I'm going to defer it to Peter because Peter's initiated it and I think
Okay.
has submitted the application. So I'm going to kick it to Peter.
Very good.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you had a chance to read the motion, and they're slightly different from the format for other motions. I've added some discussion points that I wanted to make because this was a grant application that we only learned about on October 15th and with a due date of October 31st. So we really had to hustle to pull a proposal together. And I want to apologize to anyone that I didn't consult who should have been consulted as we put this plan together. If we, those of you who are around in 2023, remember the fantastic street painting project that we executed that summer. We had over 100 volunteers out for a wonderful community building painting day. And you can still see that mural at the intersection of Southwest 36th and Canby. I had several conversations with D4C, our district coalition, about the nature of our application, because I did not think, and they confirmed, that it would be enough for us to just go back and ask for a repainting, more paint and another basically identical event. So I talked with them about some other things that we could build into this activity and this project, and some of them involve the board. So I wanted to inform you guys about what we have said we would do. And I would just add that without board approval of this motion, which we wouldn't have to do according to our bylaws or our standing rules, but this was a requirement of the funder. And so I bring you this motion this evening, and we will have to approve it in order for our application to go forward. They gave us a couple weeks dispensation past the deadline to submit the board approval. But here are the things that I added. Here's some things that were built into the grant that sort of build on the success of our project in 2023. One is there. We've got somebody with, can people go on mute, please? Oh, that's very good. One is addresses their interest, the goal of the D4C with this grant to spread the word. And this coincided nicely with efforts I have been learning about from the Multnomah Net, the neighborhood emergency team, building a new model for outreach, which involves about 12 or 15 households that we've identified around the neighborhood. These are people who are sort of neighborhood, they're local leaders, and they have emerged usually through either block parties or controversial neighborhood issues to get people all riled up. But these people have built a mailing list of their immediate neighbors, and some of them with as many as 60 people, more typically 20 or 30. But these people I think, can help us disseminate our messages to more broadly and more specifically in more targeted fashion than just an email blast to over 1,100 people. So my proposal is that we use this project to build up a list of neighbor pods, they're called, and as an experiment in sort of making our communication system more robust and wider reaching. So there's a project for the communication committee, and I know Penny is interested in working with NET, and NET has been an inspiration to this model. So I hope we can involve and collaborate with them in executing this. The other goal that D4C has is called making a difference, and this is another thing that I think I believe we can do a better job of in 2025 than in 2023. I'd like to use this as sort of a market research event and just talk to as many of our neighbors as we can that day. And this is where the board comes in. I'd like to ask that you all come out and join us that day, but help us find out three things: how people came to know about the event, if they believe the day created or enhanced their feelings of community, and how, and then whether the event made them more likely to engage with the neighborhood association in other projects. It's just a way to, I think, take advantage in more extensive ways to all our neighbors that will be gathered that day, find out what motivates them to come, see if we can get them more involved in the association, invite them to make a donation and to become members. And I just think it could be a much more powerful day than it was in 2023. And it was plenty powerful that day, let me tell you. And thanks to Corinne for all her work a couple years ago. And it was a joy to work with her. And I hope she'll help again next summer. The other point I want to make is that we have already a lot of volunteer support for this project. Community Events has said that they will help with volunteer recruitment, online communication and promotions. I'm already in touch with the artists. I'm keeping the site clean and clear. And I will, once again, as I did in 2023, notify the most immediate neighborhoods. We need their sign off to do a project like this. What we don't have yet is a project coordinator. And I'd love to have someone. It'd be great if it were someone involved 2 years ago, but in the job description so far, as I can see it, some of the remaining tasks are acquiring the paint and painting supplies, PBOT permits, snacks for the day, and maybe helping to coordinate and run the sort of bi-weekly organizing meetings that run up to the event. That would probably be May to June, maybe sometime in April as well. But I could sure use, the project could use a coordinator. I'm not able to do that. And that was another requirement of the grant. And what I filled in was a community event committee volunteer to be named later. And I hope the review committee will accept that. So I just wanted all of the board members to be informed about the substance of this grant. For a little over $2,000. We pay for the artist for just one day. We don't have to do redesign work, but the artist and the paint and permits, I think. So so I'd love to hear from some people who'd be interested in helping out that day in a significant way. And
I have a question.
with that, I want to move
Peter.
that the board, well, I'll accept questions, of course, but I want to make the motion that we approve the grant application to D4C to refresh the street mural in 2025.
I'd like to ask a question before a vote happens, please.
Yeah.
It's just an information question. You said you identified 12 leaders for the pods. I'm wondering if you got permission from them to be included in the grant application.
Well, I didn't name them. I just said we know of a dozen or so good candidates around the neighborhood.
Okay.
No, we would be starting from scratch to build this network. That's not part of the motion. Well, yeah, it is. Sure.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification.
All righty. So based off of that then, thank you for that summary, Peter. Our new board, we have a motion on the floor then. All in favor of approving the motion to move forward with the grant and to the expenses related to the grant, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All against, please say nay. Hearing none, this motion has been approved.
Thank you, everyone. I'll alert D4C tomorrow that we have board approval for the application of this grant, and we will keep our fingers crossed until January. That's a long time to keep fingers crossed, but we'll hope for the best.
Fantastic.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, fantastic. Next motion, the motion to approve the M&A financial support of the Little Free Library rebuild. I'm going to pass the mic to Julie Leet, who can give everybody the skinny on this motion.
So this is going to be super easy because I'm not asking for a motion anymore. I worked with Peter, the treasurer, and it turns out that the investment is so tiny from M&A that I'm just asking for community events, Corinne and Pam, and Peter, I guess, emotionally, to approve my use of maybe $150 to create a couple of A-frame signs and, where did the Little Free Library go? And then Peter will help with creation of QR codes to specifically allocate funds. We're looking for $1,500 from the community, really focusing on the First Friday holiday gala and social media to bring in those funds. And then the creator of the free library is already knee deep in all of the collaboration from other community members to build it for installation after the holiday tree is removed in January. So if anybody has questions about the project, you can text, call, or carrier pigeon me. If anybody has anything right now that you wanted to talk about, I'm happy to answer questions. Otherwise, the trains are running on time with getting it back installed and better than ever.
Julie, can we, as the land use chair, I'm wondering if we can donate our $150 toward your project for the library.
Beth, that is just the nicest thing I ever heard ever. Thank you. I feel my intuition is that We had 142 people reach out just on Facebook, not even on Instagram or anything else, begging to help. And we already have Sarah J's partner and also renters gifting materials. So I'm going to actually say I want the community to have the opportunity to collaborate. So at first, we were wondering if we should just pay for it, but I want people to say, I helped, I did these things. So I will keep that money in my virtual back pocket. But my hope is
Okay,
not
great.
only that we get an outpouring of support, but we'll have a caveat that says any extra funds will go to maintenance. We'll put a couple $100 there, and then any additional funds will go to the general fund. So you're so sweet, thank you. But I hopefully don't need to take you up on it.
Okay, but just let me know before the end of the year so the land use committee can donate it elsewhere since we're not doing the garden yet.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. Yeah, the treasurer will no doubt remind us. Thank you.
Okay, so that motion has been withdrawn because it's been unnecessary. So we'll go to the next one. The motion to approve the proposed M&A bylaw amendment. I'm going to take Peter, can you, do you have that motion in front of you by chance?
Well, I do, but no, actually I don't, but I know what the motion is. And the motion is, this was just a point raised in a meeting or two ago. I chatted around the village with some employees who work here but don't live in Multnomah, whether they would be interested in becoming involved in the neighborhood association. Would they like to become members? And everyone I talked to said, yeah, sure, why not? So the motion would be to add a category to our to eligibility for membership to include employees of Multnomah Village or Multnomah businesses. I was reminded last week by Will Fuller that amendments to the bylaws need at least 30 days, 35 days, I guess, advance notice. So we can't vote on that tonight. In fact, I don't think we can vote on it in December either. So I would be bringing this back in the January meeting. Yeah, Amanda, question?
Yeah, I believe that amendments to the bylaws require a vote at the general meeting.
Actually, they don't. We looked into it. It's only regular meetings. I thought it was a general meeting too, or it's any regular meeting, not the annual meeting. It has to be announced it has to be read at one meeting essentially, and then a notice going out that the amendment will be voted at the next meeting. And
yes, but the members don't get to vote at the regular meetings.
I agree with Amanda about that.
Yeah. This
is out of order. It's supposed to be the bylaws amendments are passed at the annual meeting.
Well, that's the bylaws themselves are a little vague about that. We could take a look again, but it said regular meetings, not annual.
I would be very well. Obviously, the bylaws committee will have to meet again, but the bylaws are the governing body, and the governing body passing changes to the governing body.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right to me, and I don't think the intent of the bylaws committee.
Well, actually, members can vote on amendments to the bylaws at any meeting. Remember, it's amendment is amendment to the bylaws, and I'm quoting the bylaws to someone who's a member of the bylaws committee. So tell me if I'm wrong here. But I was surprised too to see regular. But voting on amendments to the bylaws is a privilege of membership, and the bylaws read at a regular meeting, not an annual meeting.
Okay, so I stand corrected, and should be
take a look.
Notice.
Yeah, Will is correct. I've got the bylaws here, and it's not what I remembered doing, but it is what's in the bylaws now. So
okay.
So the board shall submit proposed amendments to the members for reading at a regular meeting. The board shall schedule a vote on the adoption of the amendments at a subsequent regular meeting.
Okay.
Has anybody actually looked into whether you need to change the bylaws I was a legal secretary for 28 years and worked with paralegals. And I'm just questioning whether you really need to change the bylaws at all.
Well, we have a bylaws committee, which met for like 2 years. So I think we need to look into that. Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah, look into that.
Remind me again what the proposed bylaws changes are.
What you wanted me to read this again?
What are we
No.
going to vote on next month?
Probably won't be till January
Or,
with 35 days notice.
so tell me again what we're going to vote on.
We're voting on adding as a category of eligibility for membership, employees who work in Multnomah. So
Thank you.
people who work here, who work here every day, they may not live here, but they're interested in the affairs of the village or of the neighborhood.
Yeah, so we definitely discussed that in the bylaws committee, and I'm surprised it wasn't in the previous amendments. So it's okay if we move forward with that. By me, as a member of the bylaws committee.
Yeah.
But
And
wouldn't that be
maybe someday the governance committee will meet again.
I feel like I've lost control of this meeting here, and we've had a bylaws committee meeting all of a sudden. I'm going to ask everybody to stop talking for a moment, please. And we're not having this vote until next month, and it sounds like we're not having this vote until January. So let's move on, please. Next, we have our committee reports. Next up is our first committee report would be from the Multnomah Safe Rest Village Community Action Committee, and that's Mary Knox.
Sorry, we're getting Zoom back. Hey, everybody. I'm one of the 4 M&A reps to the Community Advisory Committee for the Safe Rest Village, which, as many of you know, might know that it's part of the Good Neighbor Agreement that we participate in this committee. And the 4 of us have been meeting anywhere from 1 to 3 times a month since July. And then once a month, we meet with the Community Advisory Committee, which includes the city, the county, Sunstone Way representatives. I think that's it. Oh, and the school and West Hills Christian School. So broadly, I'll just kind of throw out the basically 5 issues we're currently working on. I won't read my whole report because it's long and it'll be on the website. But if anyone has any questions for me now would be the time. So we've been talking with the city about expected increase in activity around the MSRV. They call it inflammation. That's their term for any of their shelters that are getting ramped up. They said people come around a lot, there's a lot of interest, and then once folks understand that it's full, that tends to decrease. So that's just an observation. We're working on the Good Neighbor Ambassadors, which is part of the Good Neighbor Agreement. Sunstone Way will no longer be performing this role because they ran into problems with their union, not wanting their staff to do that. Current update from the city is they're working with Urban Alchemy to take over this role. And we hope to know more by early December. We're working on external lighting at the SRV, which has been very bothersome to adjacent neighbors because it's so bright. That is an ongoing project. We have actually initiated escalation of that project with the city that Moses is helping us with. And parking is another issue, which PBOT has been helping with, opening up parking on Southwest 25th for staff and participants at the SRV. And noise has been an ongoing issue. Some noise issues we've resolved, some we're continuing to work on. So those are the broad strokes. Does anyone have any particular questions of me at this time?
Mary, Will Fuller pointed out to me this afternoon that the city has a dark skies initiative, which might open a window to do some more, I guess, shading of the lighting.
Yeah, well, so where we are in the escalation process is we have asked the city to schedule a sit-down meeting with us with lighting experts who are also expert in city code and not just the city shelters team. So that meeting will be the point at which we bring up the Dark Skies Initiative. Will gave us all that information. At this time, we have had a very specific ask for this meeting. So we aren't muttering the waters by bombarding them with a lot of ideas. What we really want to do is sit in the room with the lighting expert at this point. So that'll definitely be on our agenda.
Wonderful. Thank you.
This is Julie. I just have to say, I say it every time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing a job that didn't exist a year ago, and for, you know, for all CAC volunteers doing one more thing that wasn't on your to-do list that nobody asked for, and for helping create organization out of chaos and doing the best that we can given the situation. So thank you.
You're welcome. We all really want the SRV to be successful, which means it's got to work for the adjacent neighbors as well as our houseless neighbors who desperately need shelter.
No,
Wonderful. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. One thing that I've been so impressed about with the CAC is the seriousness that you all are taking with this and the thoroughness of it all. Good work. Good work. And I'll be circling back around with you in the next week or so in regards to the upcoming meetings that we have to have and it goes to the lighting. I did. Okay. And I'll be addressing that probably tomorrow. Okay. Okay. District 4 Coalition is up next, and that would be you, Beth. Oh, Beth, oh, there we go. Okay.
Sorry, I muted myself to eat a snack. Hang on while I finish chewing, sorry. We had a meeting about a week and a half ago that was their Land Use Transportation Committee. That's a combined committee that was different than what Sweeney had. We had those as separate committees, and we still are, our Southwest folks are lobbying D4C to split those up. So at the last meeting, there was a lot of interest in both groups, and they will make a decision. D4C will make a decision. I guess their board will, or somebody will, make a decision about whether that wants to be split up or not. But several of us in Sweeney, well, formerly Sweeney, will be involved in that committee. Our issues in Southwest are different than everywhere else, and we want to make sure our voices are heard. Also, I wanted to talk to you, Moses, regarding I wanted to get your advice and counsel regarding the email that you forwarded to me this afternoon. So I hope we can talk about that privately.
Yeah. Fundamentally, just to let everybody know what that is about is they're forming the executive board of the new District 4 Coalition, and they're also looking for someone to be president of the new District 4 Coalition for the neighborhoods.
No, president of the executive committee.
Correct. Pardon me, of the executive committee for that. And we've been, I don't know if, I reserve the right to not take them, to not do that, volunteer my time to do that. But maybe, I don't know. I mean, I feel like
Well-
we have an opportunity to have some good representation on their executive board. And Lord only knows we could use that good representation because we're just one of 33 otherwise. So
Moses?
we'll be talking about that, Beth.
Yeah, because I've been talking to our formerly Sweeney folks, and we want to make sure that one of us is represented on that executive committee. So that's what I've been in discussion with this afternoon.
Fantastic. Okay. We'll talk more about
I-
that tomorrow and be able to confirm what we end up doing. I
I'm
get the feeling
sensitive.
one of us, either you or I, will be on that executive board.
I believe that's going to be correct. And also, the Sweeney paper is now going to be the D4C paper, and they're going to want articles for everybody like we used to have with the Sweeney paper. So that's going to be maybe up to the communications committee or to you, Moses, to write little articles
Yeah.
telling about
I
our
would
great
love-
achievement, so that we can
I'll
brag
have
about
to.
it with
I'll-
all of D4C. And the last thing I want to say about that is that December is the very last issue of the Sweeney paper, and they would like someone to write an article with memories or telling about what Sweeney has meant to us, to the MNA. And I'm hoping we could do that and include our memories of Sylvia in that.
I will gladly defer to anyone else that would like to write that article. I have so much on my plate, and writing an article, their monthly article, is very difficult for me. In fact, I've missed the deadline last month. You
The
know,
deadline is this Friday, and it's between 450 and 650 words. Would someone from the communications committee be willing to do that? Especially somebody who's been involved with the neighborhood association for a long time and is familiar with what Sweeney meant to us.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Next up is community events. Corinne? Hi, Corinne.
Oh, good. Pam's here too. I'm just gonna speak real quick to the Village Park project, and then I'll kick it to Pam to talk about what she's been working on in community events. Community Events has been partnering with the Business Association and a couple other organizations, Westside Watersheds and Stormwater Stars, to work on the property on the corner of 36th and Southwest Troy, right next to Healthy Pets Northwest. With the property owner's permission, we're turning it into a community gathering space. And most recently, over the last couple months, we pulled all the blackberry weeds out and then put mulch down. And then the next event, Stormwater Stars hosted an educational event where we planted about 180 native species on that hillside on the corner of 36th and Troy. We also worked with a landscape architecture firm to come up with a design concept that we can now start to utilize to get bids to finish out the rest of the project to make it a more functional space, with some thoughts on doing a concert series on First Fridays throughout the 2025 year. The Business Association and Neighborhood Association have partnered on submitting a D4C grant. The Business Association is writing that up so we can get some additional funding for the park project. And like Peter said, we're gonna have to wait till January to find out if we get that funding. And then come after the holidays, we will start asking for donations to the project with a more cohesive plan on what we plan to execute. We did put up a new A-frame sign on the corner of the park that has the design concept on there. It's also on our website as well, if anyone wants to take a look to see what Clement Walsh put together for us. But it so far has been a really cool project, partnering with multiple nonprofits and invested organizations in our community to put this little space together to give our village a small gathering space for people to utilize and come together and listen to music or eat lunch or whatever they want to use the space for. I'm happy to take any questions or comments, or if anybody wants to be put on the mailing list, which isn't super active about it, I'm happy to add you to it. Just go ahead and drop your email address in chat and I'll put you on the volunteer list and any upcoming information about the park.
Hey, Corinne, this is
Yeah.
Julie. Do you want to talk about the holiday gala before we give it over to Pam?
Yeah, and I might have you chime in as well, because I think you were at the most recent Business Association planning meeting that may have talked about it more than I've heard. Coming up in the holiday gala, which is the first Friday in December, which I don't have the date in front of me on the top of my head, but it's first Friday in December.
I think.
The Business Association is doing all kinds of things this holiday gala, but we're going to use that park space to be a Whoville. And they're, Julie, are you guys putting together a photo booth in that space? Is that under discussion? There's gonna be decorations and activities, and somebody's dressed up as a Grinch, I think photo opportunities, maybe some activity. We're still pulling it all together, but Julie, do you want to share what you know about it, if it's more than what I've got on my radar?
Yeah, I don't think we're as like on point as last year. I think last year we were like rock star perfect. This year, we're not going to do a photo booth, photo opportunity, because the level of expectation of kids and Santa, people start expecting really great photos and using them for Christmas cards. And then there's crying and there's, and so we're not doing that, but we are, community, Nell, is reaching out to Wells High School, and I also did as well, to some seniors that are photography majors or whatever that is, and looking for people to take more candid shots, both at Whoville and around the village, and those types of more informal types of things. And then I reached out to the mural guy who wants to do Coin Cottage to see if he would hand draw a canvas with the Presbyterian Church for the background of Whoville to go on top of the Tyrannosaurus Rex for the day, right? How stinking cute is that? But I don't think we're doing, like we did last year, was cuter than a basket of puppies, copping a squat in Multnomah Village or in Neighborhood House doing crafts. But I don't think I have the bandwidth. Or this year that we're just gonna focus on that. And I'm going to, of course, make sure the village or the library, is communicated for fundraising. Maybe I'll stand there and I don't know, do some weird library stuff. But is that all we're doing? It's a lot.
Yeah,
I just wanted to know.
I think so. And we have another volunteer that's been working with the Business Association that also has some things. I think they're partnering with Nell on it. And we'll have some decorations around Whoville. We might try to invite like not coffee, but like a warm beverage truck to park on the lower level of the pad if we possibly can. That's all kind of depending on what we can pull together. And then hopefully we'll have that tree on the lot lit as well. But that's all hopes. We'll see what we can pull together. It all depends on funding and volunteer bandwidth and that kind of thing. But it will be a destination for the holiday gala on the first Friday of December, for sure. Yeah, that's all I got, unless anybody else has any other questions, and then I'll kick it over to Pam.
Okay, thanks, Corinne. I've been mostly focusing on keeping the Spring Garden Park Stewardship event series going. We've continued to meet twice a month in these year-round ongoing volunteer activities in the park that are led by Heike, the horticulturalist with the Parks Department, as well as Kayla, who is the outreach coordinator for West Side Parks. And I have really just one update. Last I checked in, we were on track with tentative approval from the city to be able to supply the funds to put a bulletin board at the top of the park for like a enclosed bulletin where we would have access to it to put up kind of like official announcements and things of the sort. However, unfortunately, I'm not sure why, but that has not been approved. And actually the verdict is that they can't approve it at this time for whatever reason. So we're kind of just stalled out on that, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen right now. If I get more information or if there is a way to pursue it, I plan to do that again. But we're putting our attention elsewhere at this point in the park. So this Saturday is going to be our final November volunteer park meetup, and we're meeting from 9 to 11 in the park. And we're going to plant a relocated volunteer Western red cedar at the bottom of the park where for the last few years, there's been kind of a nice Charlie Brown style tree that neighbors have decorated with lights just as an informal kind of holiday mini tradition. And unfortunately, that tree died over the last year. So we're just taking a volunteer tree that seems to be about the right size and shape. We dug it up on November 5th at our last event, and it's ready to go. We're going to get a bunch of people together and dig a big hole, improve the soil, hopefully get the growing conditions right where we can increase the chance of this tree surviving, and it will be available for neighbors to decorate kind of in the same manner this way to keep the tradition going. I think that's it for me from community events. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so I must be completely and absolutely honest with everybody on this call. We have about less than 3% charge left. There are.
Oops.
I think we just lost our chair, our president.
Sounds like it. Did he kill
How can
over, or
we
what-
go
what-
on?
Well, while we're waiting, if I may say something, because I need a PS to my D4C report. So I hope nobody objects to that. When y'all are working with D4C on grants or any communications, if you would please CC me so that I am, not like having egg on my face when I'm talking to D4C people. I'd like to know where our neighborhood is doing. So I don't need to be active in those communications, but I would appreciate CCs.
So noted.
Thank you.
So since Moses is gone, it sounds like his laptop died. I'm just gonna move us forward on this agenda, and it looks like Livability Subcommittee is up next, but I think that was Julie, and she was on the laptop. Transportation would be next up on the livability report or the committee reports.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yes.
Oh, okay, excellent. Hi, this is Stefan. I don't have much update. I looked into the scooters at the Multnomah Arts Center per our last meeting, and I did
They're
not
gone.
find, I was gonna say, I did not find anything that I thought was the conditions that you described previously.
Yeah, that
So
whole rack the whole rack, everything disappeared. So I was going to congratulate you on your effort.
I didn't do anything. Yes. So I guess crisis averted.
Transportation.
I hear the ghost of Moses somewhere.
Well, what are you suggesting?
I think that's Peter talking to
Moses.
Go ahead if you still have anything to report. If not, we can kick it. Will is next for equity.
Yeah, go for it, Will.
Not just that you can't broadcast, you also can't, you're out of the meeting entirely.
Will,
see if I
maybe
can
you
mute
could
Peter.
mute Peter.
Yeah, maybe Will can. I can't do it. Will, are you there?
I'm here, and I'll first mute Peter if I can.
Thanks.
I am still, the host is on my machine, so it's
Oh,
not.
good.
Yeah, I muted Peter. I hope that doesn't cut off Moses. But they can listen to the recording, essentially. Equity is actually moving a new phase of its activities because we've generally been talking about what it takes to be equitable and a whole bunch of attitude changes and such. Since the election, we've had several more immediate threats to various vulnerable groups of people. And Beth and I talked it over, and the most immediate threat right now is to immigrants because of the mass deportations and the strong potential of abuse of those mass deportations in the hurry to get it done. And there are several residents of this area who would be affected. And we fortunately have a strong relationship with Southwest Equity Coalition, which is focused on immigrants and refugees and others of that sort. So what we're actually working to do is be very clear and direct, and you can read our report on that if you like on our written report, but very clear and direct that that sort of treatment of people is not acceptable in this area. In practice can work up into a hate crime, believe it or not, but we've got a major push for deporting people in ways which could be chaotic and un-American, let's put it that way. But we'll be more on that coming in coordination with SWEC. As SWEC develops its program, we'll tie into it and publicize it. But let me say right now that this is a neighborhood for everybody, whether they are aliens, citizens, people of any sort, and we as a neighborhood association will not tolerate actions by the government or any other organization that violates that principle. That's my report.
Thank you,
You're here.
Will. Yeah,
Amen.
thank you.
May I jump in here? This is Peter. I just got a call from Julie. They have lost power at the church, and they are now permanently offline. But they asked if I would just continue so we can finish out the committee reports. So let us do that. Will, I had one question for Equity actually, which is: have we heard back? Have we heard anything from Naya about our land acknowledgement?
I haven't pushed NARA about our land acknowledgement. The land acknowledgement process went on hold because in looking it over, this is our land acknowledgement and our labor acknowledgement if we wanted to do it, not NAYA's. We can get their blessing, but we are free to modify it as we see fit to fit our neighborhood. I haven't pursued the acknowledgement partly because we haven't spent much time pursuing relationships with NAYA or other Native American organizations or Native American residents of the neighborhood to make it more authentic than just words. And I really think we should do that before we start preaching to the choir, if you will, about that sort of thing. Let's put it this way. One of the things we need to do as an organization, I'll take it as an equity or even a communications thing, is find out who's in the neighborhood, which means reaching out to various organizations that relate to the neighborhood. I know a few people from SWEC, for example, that live in the neighborhood. One of them is a woman who is the executive director of Unite Oregon, which is an immigrant refugee group. But really make authentic relationships with people, and then the words we say will be backed up with some action. That's where I am at this point. Thanks for reminding me.
Thanks. Yeah, well, thanks for the update. I know it's been hanging out there for a while now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Will.
One coda, if I could, on that one. The Multnomah
Sure.
Historical Association connection that we're building is a planned opportunity to extend the history of Multnomah beyond the European settlers to the people who were here first. And that would be a tie-in to the sort of relationship we're talking about. And I'll be going over with Julie tomorrow, actually, to look at their MHA equipment or materials and see where they're going. Because one of the things we're doing, as you may know, is Julie found a basement room at the neighborhood house headquarters where they will store not only our small amount of materials, but the Historical Association's materials to get them out of the rather expensive public storage they're in now. And then with that under our wing, we'll look at how we want to make another relationship with the history of the area and tying into all the people who have lived and are living here.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Will, because that's a interesting and exciting project. It wasn't on the agenda tonight, so
No.
thanks for adding that.
It's an equity and a communications project. Yeah.
Yeah. Did Stefan do a transportation report?
Yes.
Yeah, because I had a question about left from last month's minutes. There were concerns, Stefan, about the e-bike racks outside the MAC, but I never saw such a thing. Did they appear and then disappear?
I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of them were taken down because of the election that happened all around downtown. I don't know if ours was included, so we'll just keep an eye on it to see if it comes back again.
Okay, great. Well, that seems to be a problem that solved itself.
We hope so.
We should have more problems like that.
There was concern that those scooters would be used to smash windows if there's a problem after the election.
Yeah.
I think,
Right.
we're going to wait and see what happens, or the city will, and we'll see if they come back or not.
Okay. Okay. Next on the list is public safety. There's not a public safety committee, but I know there's interest out there in developing a relationship with Portland Net, the neighborhood emergency team, for just neighborhood preparedness in emergencies. Earthquakes rise to the top of the list, but there are floods, there are windstorms, there are ice storms, and I wonder if there's been more conversation since last month's meeting about that. Penny, I think you're the lead on that, yes?
Supposedly.
Or as informed as anyone else.
Well, we're getting more local groups going, like on 34th Avenue. We have a meeting this Saturday with several people who have done a survey on their emergency readiness in their own homes. And then those people are gathering with us this Saturday, at which point they will then spread out to the houses around them, and we'll have a few more people coming in with additional meetings to let them know what the whole network setup is, the different layers of emergency preparedness and services. And there are a tremendous number of pamphlets, information sheets and so forth that are, as well as maps, and names and addresses, and information about people within your local pod that can be shared only in the pod. Of course, it doesn't go out beyond that, but using those names, family names, pets names, conditions, people who might need extra care, or help walking, moving, that kind of thing is all a part of this emergency preparedness program. And the various levels of going from the pod, which is just a few houses around each pod representative, and then all interconnecting as a network with Multnomah Net, first of all, and then several layers within the city of Portland. So I can give, if I were better prepared, I could give you a better talk on that. But if anybody's interested in getting the people on their own street connected, a little circle of neighbors, and get that network growing and spreading, get in touch with me, and I'll put my name in the chat and my email. Okay? Are there any questions? Yeah. Any questions from anybody?
Well,
Okay.
I'm going to put your name and number in the chat because I live in a condos with 23, and there's a woman in the building who is very eager for net to be built.
Good. Okay. And you're at the corner of what? Which,
I'm in
oh,
the
you're 30.
middle. I'm in the middle of the block between Multnomah Boulevard and Capitol Highway on 31st.
Got it. Okay, good.
Four-story condos.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Penny. I know a lot of people are interested in emergency preparedness, and it's just an issue that there hasn't been much bandwidth to address, and it's really important. So I'm glad you're working even informally and outside the committee structure to make this sort of thing happen. So thanks again. Communications, Will, do you have anything to report on communications that you haven't already?
Well, this communications, you can read our report. We have this nice report, a written one, but I want to point one thing happening. We now have a communications committee, which is structured in a way that allows the people who are doing communications, meaning the website, Facebook, the social media, and so on, reaching out to the community, has agreed to come on as part of an extension of what they're doing anyway. So that we can coordinate on the communications part of it and not subject people to yet another meeting and yet another committee to worry about. So that's where we're working right now to put some meat behind the bones of how do you communicate anyway.
Yeah, so that's great.
By the way, thanks to you, Peter. Peter gave me a very detailed idea of how to communicate, because I don't necessarily communicate all that well when I'm thinking about it. But in this case, it's how to get down to the specifics of reaching out. The pods we've talked about is one area. The visits to parts of the neighborhood physically that we don't get to, which is basically the southeast corner where there are a lot of apartments and so on, to hear what people are doing and let them hear what we're doing is part of communications. But we have people to do it and some good ideas to how to make it happen. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I personally think that communication, one of the most important things we can do is get information out to our neighbors. Since I go down to the mailbox often, waiting for all the checks to roll in as to the treasurer, I also get notices from the city about demolition projects or, other projects underway around the neighborhood. And there's no easy way to get the word out to other neighbors, and I wish there were.
Yeah.
So.
One small thing, I read an article, a Pew study on who communicates by what media. And there is a distinct difference by age, where people my age read newspapers, where we're kind of a shrinking minority. There are people who go to network television, the people that go to the podcasts and so on. But social media is growing as people are younger. They're moving toward social media. And if we aren't in that area, we're not going to reach a lot of people. So who goes to where and use that channel to reach that demographic. More on that.
That's a good point. Yep. We've got to do better at all that stuff. Last report, it's not on the agenda, but conspicuous by its absence is land use. And Beth, do you have a report for us?
The report that I already gave that report, actually during the little library. I kind of snuck in my report there. But we did not have a meeting last month, and I think we decided that we're not going to have a meeting until January.
Okay. That concludes our committee reports, and the last thing on the agenda was just alerting everyone to our next regular meeting, which is Tuesday, December 10th. And I would say if you have agenda items, forward that to Moses and our secretary, and probably Will Fuller, who turns out to be a critical facilitator of all these meetings. So anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn?
I would say one thing about that motion we started talking about with the employees. I will arrange to have a notice sent out to our membership with the text of that motion between now and the December meeting. And so December meeting can be the first reading, and then January can be the vote if we go on the normal order of things, but we won't take more time on that. We want to get it moving so that it gets voted as soon as possible.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone? Speak now or forever, well, until next month, hold your peace. Okay, thanks everyone for coming out. It's really important and delightful to see people who are interested in the what's shaking around the neighborhood. So